Hey friends, welcome back. I am Jason and I'm here with my friends Taylor and JJ, and we just finished up a survival experience where cannibalism is a possibility.
One life.
How many calories do you think are in your calf?
And I'd like to.
All right.
And it's still going on.
Yeah.
All right, enough of that. So what we did was basically simulate a very small portion of what the Bielski brothers did out of Poland during World War II. And what happened was essentially the four brothers rescued 1,200 Jews from the Nazis, and they spent their time living in the absolute wilderness of Belarus. They took all of these Jews, they built a village, they had a jail, a school, a place where they made clothing and shoes. They had an entire village in the wilderness, and they built this with almost no supplies to start with. I mean, obviously they gathered some stuff along the way, but what we wanted to try to do is simulate this to some degree. And what I wanted to do after we finish this, and I'll obviously clip in some footage of what we did, but...
Sorry about that.
Thanks, there. What I wanted to get from these guys is kind of lessons learned, what they took from it. Is this... Obviously, it's a realistic situation because it actually happened, and a lot of people will look at this as a scenario and they'll say, oh, living off the land's impossible. You could never do something like that. Well, it happened. It friggin' happened. The Bielski brothers did it in World War II. So, lessons learned, what you guys thought about the situation, anything, just give it up.
Well, I think the scenario was awesome, first of all. And for those of you out there that are doubting that could happen in an SHTF scenario, it did happen. And this is a scenario, a training scenario that I think warrants actually doing.
Any supplies up there, boys?
Some giblets.
Oh, you got it in front of me.
Some biscuits. Bacons.
To begin with. So kudos to you for coming up with a really awesome scenario. I would have liked to have seen it over a multi-day type of event, if we could do it for longer than that. But I think as far as coming up with a scenario, that was awesome. I did enjoy the fact that you kind of did the choose your own adventure type of thing.
This is what I'm doing. Like, you're looking at it. This is what I'm bringing. I'm bringing nothing else. I'm going to take my poncho and my hat right there. That's it. Poncho and hat because of the weather. But that's all I'm bringing. You guys can decide what you want to bring. I'm not going to tell you what to bring. But here's my suggestion. I want you to push yourselves a little bit. All right? A lot of these people back in World War II, the people that were fleeing into the forest, had almost nothing. Almost no equipment whatsoever. They didn't have fancy backpacks and ultralight hammocks and sleeping bags rated to 0 degrees. They didn't have any of that crap. But they still made it. They still survived. And I know you guys can as well. So what I'd like for you to do is to really push yourself. So if you're very comfortable with your kit and you've done a lot of backpacking and hiking and stuff, and you're like, I could cruise through this regardless of weather, then you need to leave most of that behind. If you're just starting out and you've never done this before, take whatever you want. I don't care. Take anything and everything, all of your gear, I don't care. If you've never slept outside before, take it all, okay? Because you'll be miserable enough.
I just went ahead and followed suit. I'm injured to begin with.
He's got a broken spine. No big deal.
So I went ahead and left all of my gear. So all I had was my EDC, and I took a rain poncho.
Yeah.
And
survived the night with no fire.
With no fire, yeah. So I went ahead and pushed myself a little bit in the scenario, and I was trying to back up a lot of what we teach on the channel to begin with. Like, you need to be prepared for the worst possible condition for this time of year in your area, and to demonstrate that you can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so many good things that happen. I would have liked to have seen people push themselves a little bit harder.
Yeah.
In that
People,
adventure.
generally speaking, from my experience, if you give them the option to not suffer, they'll choose that option. Rarely do people choose the really, really difficult path. So, in the future, we might
make it happen.
I went old school. I brought all of my bushcraft canvas, wool. I brought all of it. I want to use it. So
Okay.
I'm gonna be suffering enough just carrying all that stuff.
True.
A lot of people don't feel comfortable without the insurance policy. Is I guess what I'm trying to say. But we did demonstrate that that can be done if you have the experience, and you're also relying on resources
Right.
as well.
And the weather, very weather dependent, resource dependent. Yeah.
So something that we did was we walked and traversed, and we went about 4.5 miles through some. We're in the Cohutta in North Georgia mountains. So we're talking up and down, and we were talking scenarios where we might possibly be ambushed and. Where you're going to take cover during this, and not knowing where you're going to end up adds another element to it as well. But by the time we got there, Jason gave everybody the opportunity to basically, what are you going to do now? Like, how are you going to manage this crisis? And we kind of had to step back and let some of the other people step up and say, okay, this is what I think is best for the group. So they started forming like little pods of people.
We ended up with 4 groups.
Of five.
Of 5-ish. 4 groups of 5-ish. And we.
That's how we can. So if you have a tarp, or if you have a larger tarp or shelter, get up, stand over here with me.
The biggest thing for me was like coming from somebody who backpacks a lot, just leaving basically everything behind.
All the normal.
I brought a tarp, which we didn't use, a sit pad.
Tell me what you said about it's just like backpacking, but.
Oh yeah. What we did was just like backpacking, except for not bringing a hammock, having to build your shelter, not bringing any of the gear,
food.
not knowing where I'm going, no food.
No trail.
No trail, just bushwhacking.
But other than that,
exactly like backpacking.
it's just like.
But the ability to leave behind everything and see that things are still okay, just based on skills and knowledge, it's really nice.
Yeah,
it's a first time for me, right?
So would you say this was a confidence boosting experience for you?
Marginally, like Daniel really kind of
took
the helm, so I was kind of backseat rider. Deep I was kind of backseat rider, but I mean, I think it's a little bit of a confidence boost.
Sure.
Right?
Something that I was pleasantly pleased with, I was really fortunate actually, because Nathan and Jason and Harvey, Harvey's the young kid that we were talking about, he was on my group, and we had 2 injured people in my group, plus the kid. And they gave me lead on our shelter, on our site, picking everything out.
Tell us what to do, we'll do it.
Right, and that to be able to put aside your ego to allow whoever the subject matter expert is in their field to take charge, that's a big deal. It made everything go so smooth.
Just getting punched on, putting it there, and then we put a tarp there.
Yeah.
We tied it up there.
Yeah.
And got wood, and we made wood sticks to tie it off.
Oh, okay. You made
wood
stakes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And like you said, we were able to make it that night, but that took each guy doing something. I ended up doing a lot of bushcraft type stuff while they would go and gather the materials for me. So I really appreciated that, and we made it through the night with no problems. And I think that was a blessing for me to have that kind of group. I'm not used to having that kind of group. Normally there's a lot of egos involved, and you have to kind of work with that.
We should do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did see a lot of people in different groups learn some lessons though, like building forts out there in the woods, elevated platforms, struggling with fire.
Lay down on it.
You got a fire going in this nasty weather. How'd you start it?
I was just going to say, one of the most surprising things for me was Daniel finding so much dry wood. Yeah. Because everything was wet. Everything was soaked.
Just like it is right now.
Yeah. And Daniel was within minutes of us being there, was able to find several completely dry logs.
He was firewood captain.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah, he got that done for sure. He collected pretty much all of the firewood that we used for a 12-hour night.
The shooting aspect of it,
that was cool.
I really enjoyed that.
Was that fun? But my original plan was, like the Bielski brothers, they had, I think they started out, don't quote me on this fact, but I think they had 2 rifles starting out, and they had very limited ammunition. So starting this challenge out, if you wanted to eat, you had to hit your target. We were shooting Nazi heads, you know, roughly an 8-inch Nazi head. Woo! Good shot, bud. That was about 50 yards away, which is not that big a deal, typically speaking, except if it's a rifle that you're not accustomed to shooting. You don't know if it's zeroed in. You have 1 round. We give everybody 1 bullet. This is your only chance at success. And it's easier said than done. Some people hit the target, some people did not hit the target. So about half, I would say. What do you think?
I hit it first.
First, yeah.
Standing up.
Yes, standing shot, not laying prone.
All ready?
Ready.
Also, you were not expecting to use a whole box of ammo, but
Yeah.
No,
Here we are.
Around.
But here we are. And it was we used a Mosin Nagant, which is a period correct rifle that they had. That might have been the rifle that the Bielski brothers had. I'm not sure. But yeah, 1944 Mosin.
And everybody shared the spoils. Whoever hit the target, we shared it amongst the whole entire
Right.
group. And
Yeah. Some people opted out.
he
of
opted
eating.
not to
It was
eat
a personal
anything.
challenge, right?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
honestly, not that bad, other than the cramps.
This guy, tell him about the cramps. Let's just walk us through what it was like to be in your calves for a minute.
To be fair, I did.
He's hurting. He's hurting.
To be fair, I did warn you. I said I sweat a lot, I cramp a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and those 2 are related,
And
right?
he did not lie.
No, and
How's the cramp?
it's
Is it working its way out?
maybe.
You'd think those massive calves would be like good like storage for electrolytes. You know what I mean? Like they would just
Sweated them all out.
like a camel's hump. You just keep all your electrolytes in those calves.
I left my electrolytes on accident, so yeah, I knew that was going to be a problem. I even told you when we were shooting rifles, I was like, I forgot my electrolytes, I'm going to cramp. And that's exactly what happened. After all the hiking and getting the camp built and everything, sitting down and just cooling off, as soon as I started to try and use my legs, they cramped off. I had the front, my quad and my hamstring both cramped, and I couldn't move my leg in either direction.
Yeah,
I couldn't do
he
anything.
was like this. This is what it looked like. This is what it looked like. So he was like this, laying down, trying not to move, and then he'd be like, "Okay, I'm gonna try to get up," and he'd go, "Oh, not yet, not yet, not yet."
For about an hour.
For about an hour. We have a slight problem happening under our shelter here. Nothing to worry about really, but what's going on?
Well, I can hardly fit my merino wool pants over my calves. It's a thick boy problem.
Yeah, he's a dainty man, and he's having calf problems right now. Look at those meats. Goodness gracious. Listen, I've always said, this is important. This is a survival lesson. If you ever get into a survival situation where cannibalism is a possibility, okay, it's too late if everybody's already starving and emaciated. You got to eat the guy first. Yeah, so you need to determine who you're going to eat early out of the gate.
It's not even close.
I'm going down with a fight. I'm going down with a fight.
He's got some meat. I mean, that calf, I could live off that for a week.
You'll never see it coming.
This calves can kick.
Yeah, think about that. Think how long we could live off just one of those.
Well,
I'll sacrifice one leg
How
for
many
you guys.
calories do you think are in your calf?
I had a bunch of people come up to me to talk about our shelter afterwards because they saw how much duff. I told the guys we got to make a huge bird's nest. I mean, like 20, 21 inches of duff. Steak. Eventually.
Oh yeah.
And at the end of the exercise, I measured it with my multi-tool. We had 8 inches of compressed duff inside of that shelter. So that was the key to the success for that. And plus blocking the wind, having the rain diverters on either side, staking everything out properly.
You guys were pretty squared away.
Yeah, we were.
You
good
guys were
there.
the first with your camp set up.
Yep.
Completely done.
You didn't have anything on top of you, right? Just a good layer of insulation under you and a tarp above you. Excellent shelter.
What do you think, Harps?
Right, you didn't have any blankets or sleeping bags or none of that.
I want to say that
Harvey had a sleeping bag.
yeah, Harvey had a bivvy and a sleeping bag, but I mean he was 7 years
He's
old.
7.
Right, you know, we made him a special bed
Yeah.
to make sure he was okay.
Yeah.
However, there was one lesson learned from that as well, because when he woke up and he got out of the bivvy, the entire inside of his bag was soaking wet.
He had his head under it.
He had his head underneath there, and so all the condensation that built up into his bag was soaked.
That's good. Where are you going to sleep?
On the end.
Right in the middle. I'm guilty of that as well. Like I know that you're not supposed to put your face in the bivvy. I understand it, but sometimes it's just hard to resist.
Well, I think if you start out that way and you get, you know, where there's just enough where your body heat will evaporate whatever the condensation is, and maybe you do that in cycles. You know, that would be okay.
Ventilate and cover up. Yeah.
But even on our tarp, and I made sure that the tarp was literally this close to our heads, we had, you know, condensation all on the inside of it, just from us breathing onto the tarp. So
how did you sleep?
Mostly good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple of rotations. So we did fire rotations. We had room-ish for 4 people to lay while one person was awake stoking the fire, and then we literally just, everybody would rotate through.
Roll over.
Yeah. Roll down to the next spot.
Yeah.
And somehow I got stuck with the first spot while I was completely off the bed.
Laying on the firewood.
Yeah. Partially because of the leg cramps, but...
Yeah, because that's where you already were.
So other than those, I slept pretty good.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, I slept all right. I slept decent. I'd say I probably got 6 hours of sleep.
Probably got about 4.
Yeah.
I mean, we were sleeping in
because
30,
of all the
45 minute
electrolytes.
increments.
The water. I chugged 4 bottles of water.
You had to pee.
And I had to get up and pee 7 times last night. So
that's good. Yeah, there's a balance between being hydrated and being so hydrated that you have to pee a lot. You got to find the.
I did not do that in my last video.
Yeah,
that was too much peeing going on. I held
too much
back this time.
If you got to get up more than once, it's too much.
dude,
we got up twice.
Yeah,
it was almost your turn for rotation. I was like, I'm not gonna wake him up yet. I'm gonna go pee.
Yeah.
I went to go pee. I came back and I went to go tap on you, and I was like, I gotta pee again. So I went back in the woods and peed again.
Like from you peed,
the walk back, and I was like,
had to pee again.
nope. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Had some reserves.
I
A
did
dual bladder.
chug 2 liters of water after everybody went to bed. So.
Wow, that is a lot.
Yeah, that's a bunch, bro.
That is a lot.
Well, I was very dehydrated.
Yeah, I hear it. I hear it.
He has a sweating issue.
His kidneys just shut down.
He's very sweaty. His hat, you could have.
Oh yeah, I took my hat off and it was
just dripping sweat. Yeah, that's great.
We were
Disrupt what the Nazis
Take away what they needed.
Save Jews, disrupt everything else. Yeah,
Even the smallest flea will drag up a
Like
big
the
dog
food
mad.
that we got.
that's right. That's
managing your sweat, dressing properly, layering properly. That's really important.
yeah, and like one of the things that the textbooks. If you read the textbooks, they're going to say don't sweat. They're going to say manage your layers properly so you don't get wet with sweat. So that way when you stop, you don't get cold. Yeah, I get it, but sometimes
You can't help it.
you're gonna sweat.
We were walking in 40 degrees. I had on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I was
still
drenched.
sweating. Like. What are you gonna do? And sometimes life requires you to hike up a steep hill, and you're gonna get sweaty. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. You just gotta figure it out.
I dried off.
Yeah.
I was completely dry before I went to bed.
Yeah, merino wool is amazing.
It's the bomb.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think so. I think that was good. I'd like to do it again, just extended scenario, and maybe
I would like to set up some ambushes.
more restrictions. Yeah, having ambushes along the way.
I think so. If we had if we were gonna do that, I would cap it at a smaller group,
It would have to be.
like less than 12.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of like not discord, but like people wanting to
We
kind
need
of
more small unit tactic type
Yeah.
stuff.
If we had like a dozen or less guys of equal abilities,
Varying degree,
we could make more fun stuff like that happen. Maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Cool. Glad I finally got to come.
Thanks for
Me
the experience.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finally, you came and visited. You know.
Your first one.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. But there'll be more.
More
Gonna come out
suffering
more.
with Sawyer on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, guys. I really do appreciate you watching. I'm grateful for all the views. If you haven't hit the subscribe button already, please do so. I'd really appreciate that very much. Thumbs up. Can't wait to see you on the next video. Make sure you subscribe to Best Damn EDC if you are not already, but you probably are, because you're kind of a big deal.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Fuel the fires.
We had to pay him to be in there.
Yeah. A
Oh
lot.
boy, here we
A
go.
lot. It was really expensive. It's really
It was
expensive.
just for the calves.
They paid him with a strip tease.
Look at these things. They're amazing. Fuel the fires. JJ here. Make sure you subscribe to him as well. And other than that, guys, what's the worst that could happen? Let's just go on 3. And fuel the fires.
Fill the fire. I don't
You got no things.
I don't have that.
You don't have anything.